We beat Brighton 2-0, a penalty from Jorginho and a goal on the counter-attack scored by Willian at the end. Now for me personally, I thought this game, we looked very confident, we looked very comfortable and we looked very dominant. And I felt confident that we could pick up our first clean sheet of the season because Brighton are a team that really struggled to get goals, and defensively as a team, they're not very good. And really, the only disappointing thing was we didn't score more goals. Honestly, with our dominance and how well we played, for God's sake, in the first half, we had 17 shots on goal, which is ridiculous. We completely blew them away. And, you know, as this team develops and grows and gets more experience, you know, they are going to turn these types of dominant performances into much bigger wins. How you guys all doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the match review of our 2-0 win over Brighton today. Now, in today's match review, I'm going to be speaking about Ross Barkley, unfortunately, but there's a lot of positives. I'll be speaking about Willian, the centre-back partnership we're seeing in Christensen and Tomori, Hudson Odoi returning back to the first team as well, plus much more. But before we get into things, and, you know, on a much more serious note, I saw something on social media today and, you know, it really did make me sympathise. Now, unfortunately, a fellow Chelsea fan's mother passed away in, you know, unexpected circumstances, and unfortunately, and what makes it sadder is that they're struggling to cover the funeral costs. So, you know, I was just thinking it would be great if we as a community came together, helped them out in this very difficult, hard time. So in the description below, there will be a link to their GoFundMe page. It would be great if you guys could donate anything. Obviously, I don't know them, but of course it's a community. We're one fan base, and for me, we come together. Now we get straight into things, and the most surprising thing about today's game was the team lineup in the first half. We saw no Kurt Zouma, we saw no N'Golo Kante, and of course we were thinking, what the hell is happening? Is Lampard crazy? But of course, you know, if you remain patient and just wait for the information to come out, it later came out that Kurt Zouma is actually in fact suffering an illness, and with N'Golo Kante, you know, he still has some hamstring fears and they didn't want to further aggravate things, so it made sense that he didn't play in today's game. But what was surprising was that we saw Ross Barkley playing alongside Jorginho in the pivot, and we saw Pedro coming back into the team. And I was surprised to see Ross Barkley playing in that role. And maybe this is a good time to get the only negative point of today's game out of the way right now, and I have to talk about Ross Barkley. Now boys, whenever I watch players, I like to watch how they think. And what I mean by this is, you know, I like to see why they made certain passes, you know, the positions they find themselves in, the runs they make, what they do to help maintain the ball, etc, etc. And when it comes to Ross Barkley, the mental side of the game has been an aspect in his game that he's struggled with in his entire career. Now, Ronald Koeman was very critical of Ross Barkley when he was the Everton manager at the time, you know, constantly complaining about how Barkley reads the game. And you guys, you know, I think this gamble with Ross Barkley has failed. The only good thing is that we could get a decent transfer fee from him if he does get sold. But with Ross Barkley, you know, the mental side is something which he hasn't been able to grow and develop. He's got good shooting technique, he can beat a man, he can play lots of different types of passes as well. But it comes down to a slow reading of the game. It's like he looks lost at times, and whenever he receives a ball, it's like he's concentrating way too hard to do the simple things. And for me at this level, the simple things need to look fluent. They look, you know, you can't even be wasting your time thinking about them because you're thinking about the next player ahead. Ross Barkley today, time and time again, wrong thing at the wrong time. And it's like, you know, we can't have any more patience now. You know, he's been with us, it's his third season at the moment, and there hasn't been any development in the player. I haven't seen any improvement in any aspect of his game. He looks exactly the same to me as when we first signed him, and I think, you know, this is the thing about Ross Barkley. Everyone's still hoping that with his great technical ability, it's just going to work for him one day. But until he gets his mental attributes right, he's just always going to be a mediocre player. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but he was the only one that looked out of place in the team today. And, you know, it's not looking too great for him. Before I get into things, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. If you guys download the OneFootball app right now, you'll be able to vote for your man of the match. You'll be able to see the latest stats coming out from the game as well. And you can see all the post-match news as well. If you haven't downloaded the OneFootball app right now, what are you waiting for? You'll find it in the link in the description below. But now that the only negative is out of the way, let's focus on the positives in today's game. The first positive I want to speak about is how we played against Brighton. Now, if you guys watched our match preview, I spent a lot of time doing research, analysing my opponents, etc, etc. I felt very confident that I knew what our game plan was going to be against Brighton. And in the match preview, everything I said turned out to be exactly the case in today's game. Brighton's offensive line was all over the place. Their midfield was constantly getting overloaded all the time. They were weak down the flanks, and time again, we were using intelligent movement in behind to stretch their back line to create space and create shots on goal. Now, the only negative thing was we didn't turn that dominance into more goals. We constantly kept stretching them open, and we constantly kept affecting them down both flanks as well, and they really couldn't cope at all. I thought our passing was very slick from left to right, and the most important thing for me was that this game was a textbook performance based on Lampard's tactical principles. Lampard's watching this game, he's seen all the right things. He's seen, great pressing. He's seen us winning every second ball as well. That man-marking approach that Brighton just couldn't cope with. We counter-pressed in their half and created numerous counter-attacking opportunities. And I just feel like, wow, this team has chemistry. They look really fluid. And it's really exciting to think about the future as the season does progress. Now, let's delve into some of the players' performances from today's game, starting with a player that isn't too popular with his fan base, and rightly so, has deservedly been criticised for a while, and that player is Willian. Willian today was very good. And it just got me thinking, I think, sometimes as a new season comes, we need to give players another opportunity. With the new manager coming in, new tactics, it seems to really suit how Willian plays. He constantly has options around him. But what I'm really impressed by with Willian is how mature he's playing. He's really playing for the team. Today, his defensive game was excellent, regularly winning his tackles, closing men down, forcing errors, and he works alongside the other attacking players in the team. I thought he was very sharp on the ball. I loved his build-up in today's game. It was unlucky that some of his shots didn't go in, but you could see that he was testing the keeper and he was hungry to score because the guy hasn't scored a goal since January. Obviously, you guys, quick plug, I know that you're pre-ing the t-shirt. What can I say? This season our kits are on point. If you guys want to buy any official club merch, you'll find links below in the description below. And this segues in nicely to Tammy Abraham. Now, for me, I was utterly impressed with Tammy Abraham today. Now, Ryan Dunk is a good Premier League defender, tall, physical, and just seeing how Tammy was holding him off at times, running in behind him, Dunk just couldn't cope. Tammy had too much in his locker, and I was just impressed with how he was holding the ball when under pressure. When the team needed him, when Tammy had to keep the ball to play others in, he was able to do that. And with Tammy Abraham, he really complements how we play. With him, you can play the ball to him and you can play off him. And it's like, to have a striker who's tall, good in the air, very fast as well, can beat a man. 21, my God, did he look promising today. So unlucky not to get a goal. I loved his audacious attempt at the end of the game. Still though, the main exciting thing for me from today's game was seeing how the academy grads linked up today. Now, one thing I've constantly been talking about and stressing for a long time is, we can't overlook that understanding and relationship that these players have after playing with each other for years and years. I feel like this is going to give us an advantage as the season goes on. Their improvisational play is very good. And when Hudson Odoi came on, his interplay with Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham, it's like you could tell that these guys have played together for a long time, and it was just exciting to see. You realise that we'll have Reece in this team soon, and Loftus-Cheek as well. We become even better, and we become even more fluid. Hudson Odoi was impressive. He looked confident. He looked so assured of himself, and that was what was really good to see. He was constantly doing the right things. And that's what I liked. He wasn't trying to overdo it like he did against Grimsby. He did the right things. He played professionally. He played passes to the right people. Very unlucky with one certain pass to Willian for a counter-attack. He was beating his man when he had to, linking up with the fullbacks and the guys between the lines as well. This guy looks like he has that X factor that we need in attack. And once he's fully fit and starting from the first minute, honestly, it's going to be really exciting to see how he develops this season. I think to end things with a final positive, and that was our centre-back partners in Christensen and Tomori. Tomori has been very impressive. He looks so composed, and his acceleration, his speed is such a big bonus. It allows him to close spaces down very quickly, and because he has great positioning, We're not talking about a guy that, with certain fast defenders, they love to take risks and, stay a bit further up instead of staying in their defensive line. Tomori doesn't do that. The guy is a great defender. Positional sense is amazing. And when you have that alongside speed as well, there's a reason why Lampard is really impressed with Tomori at the moment. And with Christensen, a guy with speed who reads the game fantastically well as well. These guys look good. They're still really young, but by the time they get to about 24, 25, and they've bulked up even more and really become accustomed to the physicality of the Premier League, these guys can look really impressive. And as I'm constantly stressing, our centre-backs are good. We have very good centre-backs at this club, and there's still a lot more to come from the team. You guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm NiniFC, this is Blue Line TV, signing out.